So it's a privilege and honor to invite to you Mr. Owolabi Jamiu Falana, who was appointed in August 2022 by the Lagos State Government, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to serve as board members in charge of Basic Education Quality Assurance, Lagos State University Basic Education Board. Kebrullah. He holds a bachelor degree in economics, cybernetics from the Kaki National University, Radio Electronics, Ukriye, and a master degree in public management from Babcock University, Ogun State. Kebrullah. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, it's a privilege and honor to have in our midst Honourable Owolabi Jamiu Falana talking to us the theme, Good Mind. Your hello, sir.
لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا وما جعلنا القبلة التي كنت عليها
I want Doa as well. Good mind. Most of what I want to talk about has been said by our previous speaker about how one can discover oneself and so on. But I want to touch on Lilori just to buttress all those things I said. Number one, I consider myself as a friend of the house because I also finished from Sanwo-Olu College Solo. And I'm also a motion person. So I understand the environment and the terrain very well. I just want to I want to seek your indulgence to just talk to the younger ones. It's just an irony when he was talking about Japa as the in thing today. When I finished in the university, that's why I said it's an irony. I had a lot of my friends who were there in Europe, were still younger than this. So they were planning to move to other places, such as Canada, some United States, some remained in Europe over there. So I called my best friend then. I called him, I said, Walex, mo ń padà lọ Nigeria. Ó ní o máa lanà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn o. Ibi tó lọ yẹn máa lanà. So I told him, I said, look, I have read a lot of books extensively. I've read biographies. As at that time that I was talking to him, I just finished reading the biography of Lee Kuan Yew. And one of the things I got from Lee Kuan Yew's biography, the title of biography is From Third World to First. He wrote the biography when he was the Prime Minister of Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew in the late 40s stroke early 50s finished from Cambridge in UK. When he finished from Cambridge as the best graduating law student, at that point Singapore was still under Malaysia. So they were having a lot of issues with Malaysia. Because Malaysia is a completely Muslim country. Singapore is a Chinese section of Malaysian Federation. Chinese people are not religious. So there are some religious and cultural issues. Chinese, they are more of a cultural people. They don't practice any religion, be it Muslim, Islam or Christianity. But Malaysian Federation is an Islamic environment. So there were issues regarding how their laws can be shaped and all that. So Lee Kuan Yew left Cambridge and then he went back to Singapore. His target was to help his people to galvanize themselves, organize themselves, and if possible, make them to be stronger within the Malaysian Federation. So his own thinking was that he would leverage on his connection in Malaysia, in England, with the British people, because as at that time, the Malaysian territory was secured by the Royal Army, the British Army. So he felt that okay, he will leverage on all those opportunities bóun ṣe mọ̀ wọ́n sí wọ́n máa help òun tóun bá padà sí Singapore so that his people will not suffer. But unfortunately, on getting back to Singapore, the British people told him that, look, we want to take away our military from Singapore. We are going back home. The Prime Minister of Britain then, it was just after Second World War. Only not see outside of England. So I want to save our union to be able to build infrastructure and all that. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that, to cut the story short about the story of Lee Kuan Yew, he was able to get back to his country and he took his people out of Malaysia and they created a country that is now called Singapore. Today, Singapore, between that time and now, Singapore is the first world economy, first world country, and they have the best and biggest real estate industry all over the world. A very small and poor country, but he was able to transform that country. And he was able to become a star. Lee Kuan Yew, within the 5 years that he was in Singapore, he could not shine because they were under the Malaysian Federation. But when they created Singapore Federation, he was able to be the Prime Minister and he was able to transform that environment. So that biography had a lot of impression on me. That's why I said it's an irony now that when we are talking about Japa, then when I finished in Europe, I was thinking of coming back. So the Singapore story and the Lee Kuan Yew story really inspired me. That's why I came back home. When I came back home, I look at a lot of problems. Chaotic situation when it comes to traffic, access to qualitative education is not there, and so on. A lot of things. And I felt like, okay, I think while I'm in the private sector working, one of the things I should do is to be actively involved in politics. So I was able to meet as much elders as possible, to learn from them, to see how I can take part. In some cases, when they are deciding on who will be polling unit agents, I will volunteer. Not because of the money, but I will just volunteer to be part of it, to study what they were doing. Sometimes I will attend their political meeting to see what they are doing too. And along the line, I was able to learn fast, and a lot of things have happened between now and this time. So that is the first leg of my discussion today. And I want to encourage us to look at things through different angles. It is good to Japa, but I see this gold mine, this hidden treasure. The solution is access to qualitative information. I think the younger ones of today needs to have information. What do I mean by the information? If you like, you can Japa. If you like, you can stay here. But you need to know that by 2025, there are some skills, there are some things that are going to shape the world. And I will read 10 out of those things for you so that you can prepare your mind. Whether you are in the UK, you are in the US, or even you are in Nigeria. The kind of information I had made me to come back to this same country that people were running away from. Access to quality information is very important. And you need to know while you prepare for your future, the major things that will be the top line, the headline, in terms of skills and emerging jobs, emerging works as from 2025. Number one, data analysis and sciences. So you may want to look at those particular sectors. And when I'm talking about emerging roles, I'm not talking about the roles for somebody that is looking for a job alone. I'm talking about even younger ones that are about to enter the university, or people who have businesses, the critical areas that they can look into so that it can guide their thinking wherever you are. This is a global phenomenon. Number two, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. These are things that will shape the world starting from 2025. Number three, general and operations management. A lot of people that are setting up businesses now and also in future, they are looking forward to seeing people who have knowledge on operations management. It's very important. How you can use the enterprise resource system, enterprise resource management, to automate production, automate different things in the workplace. Is very important. I want to encourage people, younger ones, to think about these critical areas. Number 3, software and application developers. What you see today as web designers and all that, a lot of them are still going to be needed in future. Sales and marketing professionals. Yes, it's very important. It is not so easy, but it is part of what is going to be needed in the future. Sales and marketing. No matter the business you are doing, even as a public servant, you still market yourself. The ability to have those skills or learn more about those things is very important for the younger ones. Big data specialists. Like I said, information is the future. Data is very important. How you can get data of how many poor people that are living below $1 in a day in Lagos, in Ogun, in Oyo, and all that. And also segment those data. How many kids are malnutrition? That is the data, and so on. I'll give you an instance about this data issue. When I resumed my new work in charge of basic education quality assurance, my best friend was one man in charge of EMIS. EMIS is Education Management Information System. That man, his office is very small, surrounded by computers. But with him, you can get how many number of teachers in public school in Mushin, we'll give it to you immediately. How many number of teachers in private school in Mushin, we'll give it to you immediately. How many number of pupils are in primary 1, we'll give it to you. How many number of pupils are in primary 2, we'll give it to you. So I started running after him. For the first 2 weeks, he was my best friend. I was always meeting him, asking him questions, noting it and all that. That is what data can do. You cannot plan without data. Even people that want to rule us, that's why they are having governorship debate. Access to data. So you may want to think of how you can harness that opportunity. Data is very important. I'll give you another instance. If you go on Facebook, maybe you have gone online to look for shoes for sale. And so you discover that the second day, when you go on Facebook, you see that what you'll be seeing are stores or people selling shoes. That is data. There's an algorithm. The algorithm has linked your searches online with target market sellers. So they already know that you are interested in shoes. So that's how you see them. And so on and so forth. Number 7, digital transformation specialists. These are another skill set that will be needed starting from 2025. Number 8, new technology specialists. Number 9, organizational development specialists. And 10, information technology specialists. Yes, you may ask me that, yes, what about doctors, accountants, and lawyers? These skills still exist, but I tell you, those particular sectors, they will rely on the capabilities of this set of people for future. I'll give you an instance. As a business owner, there are some applications now that once you just install the system, you can prepare balance sheet, you can prepare trial balance by just inputting figures. That is what technology can do for you. So why I'm just talking about this is just to add to what the previous speaker said. It is good for us to have a thinking, whether you want to stay in Nigeria or you want to jackpot. But you are not going to go far if you don't have information, if you don't have access to quality information. Is that quality information because of free updated books in our library that I always go to read, that I was able to read a lot of biographies, that I was able to build my own passions, information. It is that quality information that has been guiding me. Even here, I have read a lot of biographies about people that have been able to do it. From Battle Lines, New Adventure in Journalism by Oshoba. I've also read My Watch, volumes 1 to 3 by Obasanjo. I've read Financialism from Bola Tinubu and Brown, and a lot of other biographies that I've read about the Nigerian political and public space. Anywhere I want to go, any area I'm interested in, I look at people that have been able to do well in that field. I read about them. So while I was in Europe, I was reading about Lee Kuan Yew, Winston Churchill, and all that. But when I got back to Nigeria, I started looking for. There was a day I visited Obasanjo Library, and I was able to buy 7 books from that place alone, from my command to my watch volumes 1 to 3, and Not My Will and all that. And I was able to read about those books. I discovered a lot of secrets about the Nigerian terrain. There is nowhere that you cannot succeed. Being Japa is not a solution just because you have traveled out. I stayed in Europe for 4 years. I have a lot of friends that envy me today. They will tell, why show my one way my share contract for me? Not for you see, it's not about I travel whenever I want to travel and come back. But I discover that I have a vision for myself. The vision is to be a leader in future. And I looked at how can I work on this vision. I had permanent residence. I couldn't have been a governor in those places. Then I have to come back home. And coming back home means that I have to take part in public affairs, be active in how our future is being shaped, and also contribute to my quota. In the last 2 years, all the positions I've been able to hold, be it as a national delegate, in fact, being a board member of SUBEB now, I've been the youngest among those categories of people. It's all about learning from people who have been there before, while learning from them, having access to quality information, and then leveraging on all those things. So I want to encourage the younger ones. Try and get quality information about where you want to go, what you want to do. I'm just leaving this open-handed. I'm not advising you to stay in Nigeria or Japa. No. What I want to tell you is that what are your options for life? I've told you about my own. Mine is on how to contribute to the growth and success of my country. And I can't do it if I'm in Europe. And I've been pursuing it since 2014. And here, within just 8 years, I know what I've been able to do with it. So, and even when I came back, I was not yet married at that time. So when I saw the person I wanted to marry, I felt like, look, this is where I'm headed, this is the direction. Are you okay with it or not? So if she's not okay, I will have left and get someone else. For me, it's all about the vision. Who is going to carry on with the vision? Sometimes it will be tough, you'll be in meetings or you'll be in some campaigns, but you know that someone that is at home understands that vision. So you're always on the same page. So it's not as if when you get home, you get complaints. No. You already talk about it. You need to be intentional about what we want to do. It's very important. And I think when we critically look at our vision in line with the kind of information in line with the kind of information we need to advance it. You want to be a nurse, you want to be a doctor. What are the skill sets that will make you to be outstanding and so on? And if I join any environment or I join any society, the first thing I always think of is that what is my unique selling point here? I always ask myself. So I build on that unique selling point that will make me to be valuable within that ecosystem. So that's one thing that I want to encourage us. And I want to ask our mothers to continue to allow our younger ones to pursue their goals. I'll give you an instance. Mulore kan nígbà tá a wà ní school. Ṣé bàbá ẹ̀ jẹ́ doctor? Bàbá ẹ̀ ní doctor medicine ní kó lọ rí. Tó bá tó dé school, club ló máa ń lọ ní trend. Because tó bá lọ class ó kàn máa ń sùn. Ó kàn máa ń lọ club kó parí. Nígbà tó dé 4th year, ó wá fẹ́ lọ fẹ́ expel ẹ̀. So after that time, mọ́mí ẹ̀ wá ní òkè wo kó tó bá fẹ́ lọ ṣe kó lọ ṣe. Wọ́n ṣe wá lọ study computer science. Computer science, only best graduating student. So, we will follow up with the passion àwọn ọmọ.
وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا
Kabirullah. Thank you so much, we really appreciate you. Honourable Owolabi Jamiu Falana. Even he came to our camp one year and he was requesting for a particular course. We have over 500 participants in the camp, and he was requesting for a particular course. I'm talking about 5-7 years ago. But he said anybody that had a degree in that course will be employed immediately at that camp with a payment of over 400,000 naira take home every month. Sincerely, we are just we are hearing that course for the very first time. So I tell you, and people who has given us some of the things that we need to watch out for, please, mummies and daddies. So I mentioned some, I highlighted some here, but I wouldn't want to waste much of our time with that, inshallah.